Folks, we've said it before. I'm saying it again right now. This is a comedy show. We are not a dog whistle for conspiracy theorists. I just want to put it out there. Also, thank you for downloading this episode of We Got This with Mark and Hal. I forgot the name of the show.
Yeah, I know.
I forgot the name of the show.
Did you forget, or was something implanted in your brain?
We're going to find out.
Yeah. There's some conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
There's some very heavy conspiracy theories out there.
This is true.
We're not going to dig into those.
We're going to assume that none of this is true. So if you're listening to this, waiting for confirmation of your conspiracy theory, get walking somewhere else. Pack up your knapsack and move on. You can get that stuff at another podcast.
That's right.
Go listen to Criminal. Maybe they'll do it. I don't know. It's a great podcast. Listen to it anyway. Anyway, it's fine. Adam Busch is here. He's being very quiet. He's nodding. He doesn't want to ruin his big intro. So,
which you just did.
Pretend like you didn't hear me say it and enjoy this episode. We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best conspiracy theory.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Well, here we are.
Yeah. Or so we believe. I'm just going to keep doing that bit over and over again for this episode.
Sure.
We're here today to talk about conspiracy theories.
We are, and this is a rare case. You know, normally for most episodes, the topic is something that you, the listeners, have suggested. But sometimes we have a guest who comes in that needs to discuss something and needs a question answered, and that's what we're here to do now. Our guest, you may know his music, you may know his acting, but you should know that he is a A+ human being. Adam Busch is here to join us. Hello, Adam.
Thanks, guys. That was really sweet.
Oh man, we're very excited to have you on the show.
Yeah,
I've told you this before. I've stood in the audience and watched you play music at some of the seminal moments in my life.
Yeah,
and it makes me very happy. Like, I know exactly where I was standing when you played Tom Waits's "Innocent When You Dream" at M Bar. Like I don't know if I've ever told you this. There are many moments that I've seen you performing on stage with Common Rotation or in other incarnations of music. And it is a joy to have you here.
I'm just impressed that all your rites of passage take place in a folk club.
Yeah. It's my great moments in my life. Or you know, there are certain, like, you'll be at a place and you'll see a show and a song will hit you or something will happen. And it's like, you know, you just remember that moment in your life and you recognize that moment as being a great moment.
And because it wasn't on TV or on the radio, it was something we were in a room together.
Exactly.
So we shared it.
And that's what I think that you do so well, that I love, is you are always, when you're playing music, you are always in the room with the people there listening.
There was a acting director named Gene Frankel from New York City who used to say, acting or auditioning is just, think of it like this. You want me to experience something for you? Fine, I'll experience something for you.
I love that. Yeah. This guy did not sound like he was happy to be an acting teacher.
No.
Oh, he wasn't happy at all. He was brilliant. I loved him. Modeled most of my personality after him.
There you
You're
go.
carrying on that proud legacy.
We're here today to talk. You texted the other day, you're like, I want to talk conspiracy theories. I was like, we're starting a thread. Let's do this. We're doing it right now. When can we all sit down together and talk conspiracy theories? So I'll tell you this, researching this topic, boy, is that a deep dive.
Is there a lot of stuff on the internet about this?
Yeah, it's weird.
Huh.
It's weird that it turns out that...
I thought it was my own little niche. I didn't know that I'd spread.
The internet is where people go when they want to talk about conspiracy theories. But let me ask you this to
you
start
think those
off.
kind of people would have like a real strong network of friends and family around them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Talk through this stuff.
Just say, you know what? Let's the four of us sit down, have a nice home-cooked meal, and then we'll talk about chemtrails for an hour. Just Like they did in the 20s. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
It's the tin hat Algonquin round table.
And it's so isolating that I had to resort to calling friends who have podcasts with hours to fill that just might be desperate enough to hear me out.
We're always desperate. That I promise.
Now,
Ding.
here's my question. Here's my question. Because we only determined that we were going to talk conspiracy theories. What is the question that we are answering? Is the question, because frequently on the show, it's what is the best blank? What is the most blank? That's kind of a funny one.
I think it's really that whole concept.
What is the most conspiracy theory?
Or just yes or no.
Yeah.
Is that a rabbit hole we should all go down at some point?
Yeah.
Should we question everything we see?
Right.
Should we support this, or is it just, spinning out of control?
Is that bonkers?
Is it just that thing that happens when somebody goes on too much about conspiracy theories, and even if they're right, you go at some point while they're talking, oh, I wonder what's really wrong with them. Like,
Yes.
they seem angry about something else.
It's not this.
Right.
But they've latched onto this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this has been given such a kind of stereotype
Mm-hmm.
that you can't question very simple little things without sounding like one of those people.
Right.
Yes. You almost if you're deep into a conspiracy theory, you inoculate yourself from being wrong because anyone who opposes you is clearly a bad actor.
Or part of the conspiracy.
Who is part of that conspiracy.
Yeah. Sure. When something gets debunked, and we'll talk about it here in a little while, like when the people that say the moon landing was faked, when that is clearly debunked, then those people say, oh, wow, the conspiracy goes deeper than I thought it did.
Right.
I guess it must go all the way to the top if everyone is saying that this is not true. You know what I mean?
If there's a jury and they're trying to figure out whether someone committed a crime or not, we talk reasonable doubt. Many jury members say afterwards, yeah, we called him guilty, but we don't even know that he did it. They just proved reasonable doubt.
Right.
But for some reason, that's not applicable to these conspiracy theories.
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of people will die holding on to them because they don't know if it's true. We don't know if the earth is flat.
Right.
But there's been reasonable doubt, so I'm going to hold on to it. But somehow that's not enough in this world. In this world, you have to be, if there's one fact that's untrue, then the whole thing is.
Exactly.
And you're crazy.
If the world's version of a story that is universally accepted has one little glitch in it, then the whole thing must unravel to a crazy conspiracy.
But we convict people who we even think didn't do it, but there was doubt.
Right.
Right.
All right. So you want to just dive in?
I just want to point out your research.
Uh-huh.
Cause I was like, Mark, you're going to have to captain the research on this one. I'm not going to Kate McManus does our research for us and she does a great job.
She does.
I was not going to make her do this.
No, you're not going to make her
Mark
go down
do it.
these internet rabbit holes.
So you've got like a full thing of the computer, but then you also have a stack of papers here.
From the Fairfield Inn.
Front and back. And there's stuff crossed out. There's stuff that appears to be circled. It's different fonts. Like sometimes it's cursive. Sometimes it's block lettering.
Yeah. Why did they stop teaching cursive in schools?
A bunch of these are just what our names would be if we were married.
Yeah. And it's just that little cross. It's like HLMG with a heart around it.
I love that there's one page you've completely redacted everything except for they're lying to us.
And you kept the page.
And the number 2, and you kept that page. There's nothing on the other side
else on
except an asterisk, as if to say, this is an important piece of paper.
Well, most of the research is on my laptop computer, but I was on a flight. I was on a very long flight when I was doing this, and the last thing that is typed on the outline that I wrote is open parentheses, some details, colon. And it ends there because that is when the flight attendant said, sir, you have to close your laptop. We are landing.
Is this all part of your bid to become the Chester Copperpot of podcasting?
Yes. Chester Copperpot, don't you guys see? Yeah. Don't you realize he never made it this far? He was a pro.
So do you want to, we were talking about this before, how to approach this.
Here's a great in, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've known vaguely what we all know about the pyramids.
Right.
And accepted it.
Right.
And I knew there was stuff we didn't know.
Right.
Like exactly how it was built. But I didn't know that we know nothing. That we have no idea how they were built.
Right.
They definitely weren't built by people, and they're definitely not tombs, because people don't build a tomb for 50 years after they're dead.
Right.
So what are they? And we can't answer that, really.
I think we can, because there are over 200 episodes of Ancient Aliens available on the History Channel.
Is that the dude who's mostly forehead?
With the giant hair?
Yes.
Yeah, George Sakouris is his name, the Greek. The Mad Greek. He wears crazy suits and does his hair all up crazy because he's like, well, I'm a conspiracy alien guy on television. I should probably look the part. I was very excited to do this because, and the alien stuff is what I asked my dad about this afternoon, because, my father in the last year, my father doesn't do anything halfway. He goes all in with whatever it is that he does.
I like this man. I like
He's
this
great.
approach.
He goes all in. So about a year ago, my dad says to
dabbles
me,
in conspiracy theories.
Right, I know. No, nobody dabbles.
You have to go.
Yeah.
It's not casual. It's not a weekender sort of thing.
About a year ago, my dad says to me, you ever watch this show, Ancient Aliens? And I knew exactly in that moment the conversations he and I would be having in a year.
Mm-hmm.
He has now seen every episode of the show. It's all he wants to talk about. And he called me a few months ago. He's like, son, I'm coming to Los Angeles. Like, oh, you coming out to visit? He's like, yeah, cause Alien Con is happening in Pasadena.
Oh.
So my dad, flew to Los Angeles to go to Alien Con, which is the Ancient Aliens. It's put on by the producers of Ancient Aliens. And like you would go to a Comic-Con and you would see all the stars of your favorite movies, and those would be the autograph sessions and the photos you would go get. And this is that just with the cast of Ancient Aliens. And my dad bought the gold pass. And additionally, he bought autograph sessions and meet and greet photo sessions with every single person who is involved with the Ancient Aliens show. And I'm not going to lie. He makes compelling arguments.
They're a compelling argument.
The thing is, the thing about Ancient Aliens and the thing about these alien conspiracies, this one jumps to the front for me because it really is plausible to me. Like the idea that we are the only planet. I'm going to start sounding like a crazy person.
I'm like wrapped. I know it's my job to talk into a microphone, but I just want to
Guys, we're doing this.
We're doing
Yeah,
it.
it's
We're doing
happening.
it. We're in it
so
now.
deep.
Just do it.
We're in it now. I feel like I should just swing the lamp that is above our heads right now.
I'm going to start smoking.
Great. Yeah. You're going full Art Bell, late night, dark studio. It's silly to me to think that of the billions of planets out there that we're the only inhabited one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's silly to me to think that the length that we have gotten in our technology is the farthest that any species on any planet has ever gotten. So it's not outlandish to think that there is, I mean, we're exploring space. We've been exploring space for not long, 40, 50 years, that there are other species that have explored space and have gotten pretty far.
I like the saying that the best proof that aliens exist is that they haven't contacted us. Because if you went into a field
Right.
and there was a bunch of dogs just, fighting each other.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think you would interrupt and say, hey guys, do you want to know all the secrets?
Yeah.
You'd probably wait
Sure.
until they calm down.
Until they were ready.
And then come over.
Yeah.
So the pyramids, we don't know what the explanation is. We don't know
Right.
how they built them with technology that's greater than ours.
Right.
I don't know if aliens did it, but if no one can answer that question, I can see how it would lead me to a convention with an 8x10 waiting to get signed.
Exactly. It seems weirdly plausible.
I would subscribe to the alien theory, assuming that there's like a Diane Fossey of aliens who wanted to come live among the primates and study them. I'd be like, you should have, like I taught this ape how to press numbers in sequence. Well, I built some pyramids for these people. And by the way, I think if if our ancestors could turn fish into a loaf that we eat, then they can build pyramids. They just complained the rocks into being.
Oh, is that how it worked?
You just guilted it like, oh, it's fine. Don't be a pyramid. I'll be over here suffering.
Did you just draw a direct line between gefilte fish
Yeah.
and the pyramids?
The other great engineering. You explain the gefilte fish. How is it made?
I don't know.
Of course, nobody knows.
You take salmon and you gefilte it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. It's gefilted
With
fish.
Yeah.
Gefilte blade.
It has been, it's,
Well, I can tie it when you go to see King Tut, when you go see the remains that tour around.
oh, did you see that tour that's here in LA? It's
It comes
great.
to the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the first recorded parchment contract ever discovered is a land agreement between two Jews, and it goes on for pages. So it is very deep.
Yeah,
That's how we do it.
Old school.
You know, they were originally the pyramids covered in limestone,
Really?
all of them,
I didn't know that.
which made them look like a Kubrick thing, like white,
Yeah.
smooth. All that fell off. Now that, if you were to see that image, that smacks of.
That's alien.
That
I don't know
feels
if it was
alien.
for us. It might have been a marker for someone else. It's also one of the pyramids is the truest north we have.
I've heard
And that's
this.
just a scientific fact.
Yeah.
We haven't built a machine that can point as true north as these pyramids are.
That's fascinating.
Why would we, and how would we know to do that back then?
Well, the Anunnaki showed up and they
Stop.
taught us.
No, are you talking about alien? What is it called?
The Anunnaki were a
No,
race
what
of
is it?
extraterrestrials
Oh.
that showed up 450,000 years ago
It just looks like a dude with a beard.
and
Does not look
kickstarted.
like an alien.
It's an
They had a
alien
Kickstarter?
and kickstarted the human race as we know it. Now,
What
there
were
is-
some of the bonus perks?
here
Yeah.
was
What would you get for kickstarting humanity?
at a certain level.
A t-shirt.
Yeah, you get the T-shirt.
You get a copy of the land agreement drawn up between those
Yeah.
two Jews.
Now,
I can't carry
the
this.
next level up, and this is where the thing becomes like, okay, this feels like conspiracy. This feels where it becomes a little crazy to me. Like the idea that aliens showed up and helped is not that crazy to me.
Okay.
That where it does get crazy is that the reason that ancient aliens or that these aliens look like, or that humans look like aliens and aliens look like humans is that this is a theory of the Anunnaki, that showed up in South Africa 450,000 years ago, that they, somehow that they somehow figured out how to adjust our DNA. That they are, when people talk about the missing link, this is a thing that I found in my deep dive, that the missing link is when the aliens showed up and kicked our evolution into high gear and made our brains smarter by splicing it with their superior alien brains. That's when it starts to feel a little crazy conspiracy to me.
Keep digging. What else did they do?
Oh man, the Anunnaki did a lot. I don't
Blended fabrics, also from the aliens.
Ooh.
They had a loom.
I don't want to get too, that's the problem. And we were talking about this before. Like, I feel like this episode, we're going to have to look at generalizations.
Sure.
Because if we start digging too deep into any one theory,
What are you afraid of?
we'll,
What are you afraid of? I mean, until we have another explanation. This is why I freaked out about the pyramids, because I was like, why are we spending any money going into space when we don't know what this thing
Sure.
right here does? Like,
also, why are we spending any money going into space when clearly they're interested in coming here?
Yeah.
Why don't we just stay put? It's like when you lose your mom at the mall and you're like, I'll just stay put because she's looking for me.
Is there a theory where there's a giant balloon tied to the Earth so that the aliens can find us in a crowd? Just in case?
Space buoys.
Yeah.
right. I think so.
Yeah. The aliens put a space buoy on us.
Yeah.
And that's how they're going to find us when they get back.
I mean, until we figure out how they built them like that and how I'll accept anything.
It's
And I
all
wish
good
I
a
could
theory as
just,
any.
I wish I could just have an open mind and not be, it's like, when Richard Nixon made marijuana this hippie thing.
Right.
And it was like, you can't just smoke a joint without taking on all of this cultural stuff. Now
Right.
you represent this and now that's
Right.
that. And it remains to this day.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. We can't ask very simple questions. Like I looked up what that flat earth thing was. I didn't know what it was.
Uh-huh.
Can we talk about that?
I think that's a great one to move on to.
Sure.
Is the flat earth theory.
I don't know if the earth is flat. In fact, I think it's not.
Hold on a
Put that
second.
out there.
Hold on a second.
You know.
don't know? We sent people into space who took pictures.
Which are all composites, because you can't get it all in one frame. They asked Bill Nye about flat Earth, and his reason why it's impossible was, have you seen the amount of paperwork it takes to do things at NASA? And I was like, that's not enough, Bill. Bill, that's just not enough for me. No, I don't think it's flat, but some people are questioning why we can't fly over Antarctica. They're questioning certain things about flight patterns. And I think they're valid questions, but they've successfully deemed all of that flat Earth. So now the second you even bring that up, you're just taking all this baggage with you.
I ascribe, and this may be antithetical to everything that a conspiracy theorist would hold dear. And this isn't my general guiding principle of life, but for something like flat Earth, if somebody's like, prove that the Earth, what about this? What about that? I don't have the answers to that.
Right.
But there are people way smarter than me who have dedicated their lives to the study of the Earth and to space and our relationship to other heavenly bodies who have figured this out. And they would be happy to answer that question for you in a way that I cannot.
They understand the science of it.
I trust those people and what they've done. That is certainly a leap of faith to trust anybody about anything. But at a certain point, there was a time we believed the sun was a man in a fiery chariot riding across the sky.
Right.
And we haven't definitively proved that isn't true. We only know what we've learned in the last, 600 plus years of what the sun actually is, that it's a star and it doesn't revolve around us. We revolve around it.
Right.
And that we're also spinning as we revolve, and that spinning is what keeps us all on the planet because it creates a gravitational pull along with the moon. Like that everything works together. It's one big mechanism. So
I tend to believe scientists over
sure.
anything else that even sounds or feels good.
Right.
The one thing that got me thinking differently about flat Earth was not anyone's theories on why the Earth is flat. It was listening to the scientists explain why it's not. Because all of them were simple things like a ship goes slowly down when you see it. How come you don't see it?
Right.
That's not enough for me. That's fine.
Right.
But that's a NASA scientist.
That's not enough.
No.
You think that every ship is just sinking?
I don't know.
Like they go far away and then like no ship ever reaches its destination?
Well, no, it does. You get to the end. The big part of flat Earth is they say it's a dome.
Right. So I'm trying to find this online right now.
So the bottom half. So it's like the Pop-O-Matic on a board of trouble.
Exactly. I don't know if I believe any of this.
You didn't see those two big dice in the middle of Earth? And then we're all in
bubble.
We're all in that Pop-O-Matic bubble right now. And periodically that's what happens. We get somebody comes over and pops it and the dice roll.
Yeah. But that lines up with there's a whole family of theories that are like, I don't care what science tells you. I have this idea from 30 BC that I'm going to hold on to. That's got to be true because we haven't, science is the pursuit of knowledge we don't yet have. So, that's why it's constantly changing, is we're constantly in search of the truth. And when we learn something, it's not everything is codified as this is definitely the way it is now. It's all right. Well, let's keep trying to prove that is either right or wrong, or seek the next bit of knowledge. And that's how we unlock.
There seems to be so many places where we stop that.
Sure.
Where we don't keep going or keep looking or even allowed to ask questions. If I can go back to the pyramids really briefly.
Sure.
One of the reasons we can't.
Please.
One of the reasons we don't have the answers to these things is because scientists are not allowed to go in there because they were deemed religious artifacts because they're tombs. And that remains.
And they haven't been open to prove that they are tombs. Yes?
A little bit. We still have not
have
been in there, but what we have seen is all of the elements that you need to conduct electricity. Copper, inside, iron, all of these different things.
I don't know. I'm so bothered that I cannot find this right now. I've been searching while we've been talking. I've been searching for, there was a poem that I read by a flat earther.
They make the best poetry.
Right. They're the best poets.
Really, like E.E. Cummings, just romance.
Basically, the premise of this, the way that the flat earthers view the flat earth is that the North Pole is the center of this flat Earth, and there is a wall of ice that encircles the Earth. That's what we think of as Antarctica, is that wall of ice that encircles the rest of the Earth. And this, I wish I could find it. I can't find it.
This
stanza. I know Hal just shaking his head.
Going out of my mind.
I know. There's the stanza. There's a stanza of this poem that I love so much. I bookmarked it. I can't find the bookmark.
It's roses.
That is
red.
it's basically the stanza of the poem is, Galileo said that the Earth was round. The tale of this stanza of the poem. Galileo said that the Earth was round, and then that mighty Inquisition showed up. That righteous Inquisition showed up and said he was wrong, and he apologized. Which is, I don't think that's how it happened. That Galileo was like, you know what, guys? You're right. The Earth's flat. But by then, the bell could not be unrung.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
And to keep that ball of hilarity rolling. I think it takes a mix of religion and science, because that's what he's getting at. And I think,
right,
like Hal said, you can't make a hypothesis without just faith that it'll
right.
work out. You have to have just blind
faith in something.
Right.
Whether it is your religious faith, or faith in science, or faith in some of these cases, the correctness of the internet.
So just, we keep them so separate.
Right.
And really, if we combine them both, I think we'd reach all the answers. Like, I don't necessarily believe any of this stuff, but I do think if everyone in the world thought the same thing at the same time, or really just held hands or something like that, something would happen.
Right.
If we all got together and focused our energy on just one thing, one
hands
beam
across
of light.
America, we'd feed a bunch of farmers.
Yeah, but focus more on something less helpful and more silly
No.
and like less fruitful. Just,
Like
the
fish that saved Pittsburgh, the movie about basketball from '79. I agree. We should all think about that.
Is that where we were going with that?
I think so.
Should I? I feel like part of me feels like I have to recuse myself from this whole conversation.
No, we need
Why?
you.
I'm going to tell you why. Because my father is a Mason.
Oh.
So let's talk about the Denver airport.
Okay, let's dig into this. Let's talk about this is another one of the big conspiracy theories.
Yes.
You mentioned your dad is a Mason.
Yes.
And that is that there is some sort of big whole world secret society that controls everything. Now there are assorted theories about it, that it's the Illuminati. There are theories that it's the Freemasons. Whatever the group is, there are these theories that there is a great world group that is controlling everything and doing things like it was their idea to put fluoride in the water, not because fluoride is good for your teeth, which is true, but because fluoridated water makes the population dumber, and the dumber the population, the easier they are to control. And also the chemtrails is another famous conspiracy theory that's going around. Whenever you see an airplane that leaves that white cloud behind it of vapor, that's not in fact vapor, that is some chemical that's being spread over the world. Where basically, the entire world is being crop dusted by some huge world order.
I want to stop you there.
Yeah.
Not because I'm not interested, but because I don't want to give too much airtime to specific theories that I think are
bogus.
Harmful?
Yeah.
Harmful. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Harmful.
I also think that it's easy to debunk because the world is so disorganized that there's no way that, I don't know.
I think the great writer and accused murderer Amanda Knox summed it up best when she said, we want to believe that we know who the monsters are. We want to believe that we can point at someone and go, oh, they're a monster, because it's comforting. Because if we don't know who they are, then that's frightening.
Right.
So we want to be able to say that. And I think a lot of this Illuminati and world order stuff is just a desire that there is a plan.
There must be a monster.
Someone knows what they're doing. Surely we're not just
reason.
hurling through space without any idea what's happening.
Exactly.
And that's where it's similar to finding God. You know, when you put all your beliefs in one system, it's kind of you want to spread it around a little bit, I think.
Yeah. And I can tell you my experience with the Masons, which I did not join. I kind of wanted to join just to see
My grandfather was one, and I really want to join.
Yeah, I wanted to see what was up, but I also know I would not be good at keeping those secrets because I would come and do an episode here and just talk about it. But this is what I know it's good for.
Uh-huh.
If you're flying to Salt Lake City from Philadelphia and you get laid over in Atlanta because of weather, you can get a room at the Howard Johnson and get expedited service.
That's enough for me.
Yeah, I'll join the Masons for that.
Yeah.
So basically,
I get less from AAA.
Yeah, exactly. The Masons are American Express.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a little perk. You get to go to the club.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about because we've kind of divided this into a few different types of conspiracy theories. Aliens being one of the big ones. A giant world order being another one of the big ones. I'd like to talk about big lies. There are a lot of conspiracy theories around big lies, and I'm just going to give you the top 6 big lie conspiracy theories that I have found, and I'd love to talk about these because I think there's one or more of these is going to come out as a really fun one to play with. The moon landing was faked. The story of the Da Vinci Code, Holy Blood, Holy Grail, that Jesus married Mary Magdalene, and there's a bloodline that continues. Paul McCartney is dead and has been dead since the mid-'60s and was replaced with another lookalike. Elvis is alive. He did not die in 1977. He faked his death and lived for several years after. The Earth is flat, which we spoke about briefly. And Shakespeare did not write all of his plays. These are some of the in this deep dive. Those were the 6 big lies that kept coming up over and over again. I think the biggest of them being that the moon landing was faked. We mentioned it briefly. As far as conspiracy theories go, this one upsets me.
Why?
It upsets me because can't we believe that humanity is capable of this?
I think we do. And I think it's just, again, it's more of a general question like flat Earth. I don't know if the moon landing was fake. I don't think it is, but we're certainly capable of that. And we've certainly faked something before.
Sure.
Wag the dog style.
But there's now definitive evidence because we have high resolution photographs. There was photographs taken in 2012 of the moon's surface showing, and they can see this in the photographs. There were 6 flags that were planted on the moon by the United States. 5 of them are still standing and flying. One of them is knocked over because the first Apollo mission, when they left, the rocket booster knocked over the flag.
Apollo 11.
And after that, they were like, hey guys, put the flag further from the landing site. That was what they eventually decided to do.
What about they say that, you see the flag waving and there's no wind up there. How is that possible?
Right.
But the footage I've seen of that really just looks like someone kind of brushing by it.
Exactly. Like if you tap something in space, like I've seen someone, you take a step in space and you leap. You know what I mean? Like things move differently in weird ways there. But I feel like that's one of those.
I think the moon landing's real. I think the idea that something we've been told or presented, we've captured this criminal, this war is over, this one started, could entirely be faked and we'd have no way of knowing.
Sure, there's marketing spin. There's a really great movie called Wag the Dog.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
About a manufactured
and governments
war.
have secrets.
Absolutely. And they do try and protect us.
Yeah, there are propaganda campaigns. And did you ever hear about the fake attack during World War II?
What's that?
Oh man, this is one of those great historical stories. One of my favorites. There was a fake. It was the fake army. It was like the ghost army, I think they called it. It was a group of Hollywood people and like sound designers and art directors and all these different people. They figured out how to convince the Nazis that they were going to invade from one spot. And so the Nazis amassed an army in this one spot. And then they hit them from another side. And the way that they convinced them of this was they built inflatable tanks that they brought over. They had Hollywood sound designers set up speakers and do Foley work that made it sound like this army was marching in a certain direction. They had
When is that movie coming out?
This I don't know.
that
This
Get me Matt Damon and a beard and
right?
I'm in.
It's
yeah.
a wonderful documentary on Netflix. If you get a chance to watch it, it's so much fun. So there are misinformation campaigns. You look at Roswell in 1947. It was what it turned out to be was sonic microphones that they were putting up into way high in the atmosphere to listen to Soviet activity. But at first they said that it was, at first they flat out said it was an alien invasion. That was their cover story. And then everybody went, there was an alien invasion? And then the government went, we probably shouldn't have made that the cover story because that's kind of a huge news story if it is. So then they were like, it was a weather balloon. And then everybody went, hang on a second, you said it was an alien invasion. Wow, they told us the truth, and then they made up a lie about it, when in fact, the first thing that they had said was the cover story for doing some Soviet recon work. So yes, entities, governments, whatever, lie.
Yes.
About things.
My favorite story along those lines was, I think in the 1930s, the BBC, there was some incident that happened, I think in India, that they wanted to cover up. But before they could get to the newspapers or before the radio broadcast, whatever the issue was sort of was resolved. It wound up not being what they thought it was. And all the papers were like closed for the holidays. So that night, the BBC News came on and said, there is no news, and then played music for an hour.
Wow.
So it was the day there was no news. Because the one story that was out there that was worth reporting that they wanted to squash had already sort of like, it wasn't the big deal that they thought it was. So they didn't need to do their spin on it. So the fact that there was a day with no news.
That's frightening.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would
keep me up at night.
Yeah,
Right,
I would be
yes.
terrified.
It's haunting. It is haunting.
Forget the barrage of too much news. If I turned on PBS NewsHour and they were just like, nope, nothing tonight.
Anybody read any good books?
Yeah. Be like, whoa. Hang on a second. Yeah, there's a story. There's always a story. There's something going on.
I would love a day without news, though.
Oh,
I
right.
would love one day of a break. I don't care. I don't want the human interest story, like nothing. I just want a vacation.
It's not something that's going to be presented to you. You're going to have to create it.
Yeah.
I know. I do. Yeah.
I know.
That's self-care 101, 102,
Yeah.
103.
Turn on an album.
Turn on an album.
Yeah. Like turn up.
Hey, the 60s.
But not one by Paul
Turn off-
McCartney or Elvis Presley.
Right.
Because that's
No.
going to...
Let's talk about these. Can we talk about these?
Yes. Here's what came to mind.
This Paul McCartney thing is hilarious.
If I may, I heard this story a lot from musicians that said that Prince liked to be wheeled in and out of concerts in road gear. That he liked to get into like a case, a road case, and be wheeled into the show.
He was a little
He
guy.
was
Yeah,
weak.
you would fit.
That's what they like. That's what he likes. That's his thing. And I finally met someone who worked with Prince, and I asked them about that, and they laughed and said, no, that's not true. But he does a lot of these last-minute pop-up shows in venues that too many people come to, and there's
Right.
no exit or way out. And if he can't leave without causing a scene, they would put him in gear and roll him out as a security
Wow.
measure. But I could see very easily how doing that once could turn into a story like that.
Do you think a lot of these conspiracy theories are a game of telephone like that?
100%. That's my point, is that there's something there. It's probably not what we think it is, but there is something. Like, there's lots of conspiracy theories about the Denver airport involving the Freemasons.
Yes.
And
Denver Airport just has some creepy art.
so explain it to me.
Yeah.
Somebody has to explain to me. I don't know if it's a secret bunker for the rich and the elite, but who chose to put a horse named Lucifer with red eyes in the front?
Yeah.
Who chose a plaque to dedicate it to the Freemasons and the New World? Like, that's there. That had to pass through government approval.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were okay with such horrific, weird imagery.
Well, and then you have things like, I think it was in Virginia, there was like a mountain resort that for years people were like, there's a government bunker in that mountain, and the resort is a front for it. They're like, no, it's not. You're overreacting, not true at all. Then later on, it got declassified. They were like, yeah, this was an emergency bunker in case of a nuclear fallout. We had room for and like, now you can go and tour it.
Wow.
So you can see like that it's there. So are there hidden bunkers Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a
Does
reason?
that mean that there's something terrifying and nefarious going on inside
Well,
them?
when
No.
we're not given the information, we have to create it for ourselves.
Right, exactly.
And it's going to be created by the people with the most time on their hands.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, you know what? That gives me an idea. Because we were trying to figure out what question to answer in this conspiracy theory discussion. Maybe that's a fun question to answer is, in a situation where in a vacuum, if there's a vacuum where you don't know, what is the most creative thing that at least one human has come up with that people latched onto?
I'll tell you what. Before we get into that, before we answer that question, let's take a quick break, hear from some of the other shows on Max Fun.
Great.
And then we come back, we'll answer the craziest,
Is that the
most
question?
out there. That's what you want. You want like
if we're talking conspiracy
the
theories,
most
we want the
out there.
most out there.
Okay.
Right?
But I have some terms around
All right.
that I'd like to see if you both agree to. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Great.
Ooh, girl, I'm lost. It's a scary time out here for intersexual minorities.
Don't worry, I know a place where we can learn, laugh, and play.
Where?
Minority Corner with the Wonder Twins of podcasting, Aneke and James.
Wow, they sound fabulous, smart, and incredibly attractive.
At Minority Corner, you'll get everything from the history you were never taught.
Like the history of Chinese immigration, or who was James Baldwin, or African queens of old, like Queen Candace.
Plus, awesome book recommendations outside of the usual white male cisgender canon. Interviews from comedians, artists, writers, and activists.
Well, that sounds like a party. But hold up, what about movie and TV reviews starring folks whose melanin is poppin'?
Well, you know Minority Corner loves their deep dive into pop culture, all from a perspective that's black, queer, and ladylike.
Ooh, yes, and with the election just around the corner, sounds like Aneke and James are gonna get us information.
Not to mention self-care tips, how to be an ally, and how you can get involved in your community so you can help fix this mess.
You know what? James and Aneke kind of sound like us.
That's because
They are us.
Whoa.
Minority Corner.
Is there a dog in a car at a bar on the street? Yay!
I'm Allegra Ringo, a small dog owner. My dog Pistachio howls when she's excited.
And I'm Renee Culvert, a big dog owner. My dog Tugboat tips over when he's sleepy.
And we co-host a podcast called Can I Pet Your Dog that airs every Tuesday. We bring you all things dog.
Yes, dog news, dog tech, dogs we met this week. We also have pretty famous guests on Butt Legs. We're not going to let them talk about their projects.
No.
Just want to hear about those dogs.
We don't want to hear about your stuff, only your dogs. So join us every Tuesday on Max Fun.
Okay. This is the condition, I think.
Okay.
I think
We've been freewheeling up till now, and I love it.
I think and there are some big ones that we haven't mentioned because I specifically requested that we not mention them because I think they're so, not even asinine, but harmful.
Yeah.
Harmful and hurtful to people.
Yeah.
So I think that the correct answer to this question that you're posing is something that is not harmful.
I 100% agree. Adam?
Sure.
Great.
Okay.
That
being said,
where were you going with this?
I don't know. I was thinking about Area 51 only because I like the Megadeth song Hangar 18.
That's enough.
Which I know takes place there.
That's enough.
But that again,
Hangar 18, isn't that the first level of the game Area 51? Do you remember that video game?
Yes.
Oh, that game was amazing. It was just a shoot 'em up alien game, and your whole job is to get out of Area 51 after the aliens have taken over.
Yeah, there are a ton of aliens. They've broken out of containment, which is what Hangar 18 is supposed to be, where the sensitive alien information is.
I wish there was a Megadeth song for all of these conspiracy theories, so you could have a hook and just invest.
I wish there was a Megadeth song about a sensitive alien.
That's nice. It's more a Cat Stevens number.
Yeah. No one understands me. It's my three heads, isn't it? Oh.
So what is there one that stands out to you that's like, it's almost like we're giving somebody marks for creativity.
Yeah.
Have you heard this one about Trump the time traveler? That there was a kind of comic book, a graphic book, which is true. You can see it, that was made in the 1900s about a great businessman named Trump and how his grandson was named Barron, which is Trump's son's name.
Sure.
And about their plans to take over the world. And it's pretty in keeping with what happened, and it uses this name Trump, and it was written in the 1900s.
Wow. No, I have not heard of this.
This is like the movie Time Cop, where
I just saw the movie Time Cop, and I'm kind of just free associating.
Yeah, of course.
For lack of a better, trying to lighten the mood. You can search it. It's a real thing. There's no proof, obviously.
Right.
But it's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty out there.
It's pretty out there.
I do like the idea. We keep coming back to aliens, partially because I
just keep talking about it because of my dad.
I'm really glad your dad came out to visit. I'm very sad that his priority in a trip to LA was Alien Con.
Oh, yeah.
But you were also here?
Yeah.
Would you be sad if it was a Walking Dead convention?
Yes.
That's fair. See, that's fair. Okay, then go on ahead, please.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But the idea that aliens have come to this planet and are repeatedly coming here.
Mm-hmm.
To whether it's like the story of Fire in the Sky or like a farmer in 1933 notices a strange light or crop circles or all of this stuff. There's something to be about either these aliens are pranksters or they're a bunch of Diane Fosse's or they're a bunch of Bob Fosse's.
That's what I was
sure. Yeah. They come and do their isolated dance moves.
They're like sharp movements.
Yeah.
But I also
that's how they speak.
Yeah. I like that it culminates in sort of a Star Trek First Contact, which for those of you who don't know, the idea that the first alien race we made contact with was the Vulcans, and they'd been monitoring us but didn't show up until we had technologically proven that we were ready to travel to other worlds by creating and successfully using the warp drive.
See, I think that's pretty much, if you want to go back to the pyramids, it's something like that. There was technology. There was some kind of, that's something for them.
Maybe that, yeah, this is the one that to me is the most, I'm sorry.
Did not rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And they let it go. And they moved on and they let the things break.
Maybe they'll be
and
back.
That feeling that, no, I don't think so. But that feeling that we're so pointless and that life has no meaning and that we're all just spinning around is because we failed a long time ago. And this is all, there's 3,000 years of Egyptian history we can't account for.
And whether who knows what the truth is. But this to me, this is the conspiracy theory I get the most excited about, I guess. You know what I mean?
It brings you closer to your father.
It brings me closer to my dad. Yeah.
He'll finally talk to you.
That's what it's all
my
about.
dad will finally talk to me. I call him and I say, Dad, I love you. And he says, do I love you, son? Ancient alien theorists say yes. Which is the phrase that he loves to use now. Ancient alien theorists say yes.
Ancient alien theorist. What kind of degree is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because anyone can can marry people. You can just get that
sure.
That's true.
Oh, the ancient alien theorist is also in the Universal Life Church.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just the next level.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay $5. That's why I'm not one.
Yeah,
right,
man.
But
if I could
like
get
$7, you can get them both.
Yes.
Try and upsell you.
Yeah.
I want George Secouris to sign my wedding certificate. That's all I care about.
It's just a big X with a drawn alien head
and a
above
question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did you go to this convention with him?
I did.
How well attended was it?
I did. It was. Oh man.
How many people would you guess were there?
It was full when I got there.
But was it full like the common room at the Hilton downtown, or was it common?
It was the convention center in Pasadena and the surrounding buildings.
That's size and the surrounding buildings.
So like the hotels around there, like their ballrooms had tables and meetings and things going on.
Did you fall in love?
Yeah.
How was the food?
I fell in love with an alien girl. That's what she told me she was.
Are either of you familiar with the Kelly family?
Your wife?
R. Kelly?
No, not
Jennifer Kelly?
No, neither Kelly. Neither of those Kellys.
Your wife? R. Kelly?
Robert
Which Kelly? Those are the two.
John Kelly?
Are they married to one another? Roberto Kelly from the Yankees?
Kelly LeBron?
Just the first name.
The Kelly family are I think they're a Romney family.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is their background. And they are a family band that used to be the parents and the kids. And then the parents, I think, passed away. And it was all like 28 kids. And they would sing a song, one of which was Fell in Love with an Alien. And
what?
But for all of those kids, and they were huge stars in Europe, how many of them do you think harmonized with the others?
Is there such thing as 28-part harmony?
Is there such a thing as 28 people and 0 parts of harmony?
What?
They just sang in unison?
Yes, they did.
28 people singing in unison.
That's just creepy.
Yeah.
It's inherently, and the sound of families, they all have the same voice.
Yeah.
And they all look
so really
alike.
it's just,
it's
not like a chorus other than it's just like one loud person.
It's haunting.
Take the those two twins in The Shining when they say, "Come play with me," and set it to music and just echo and echo and echo.
That's exactly what it is. That is the exact experience of the Kelly family. Yeah, they have a song called "Fell in Love with an Alien," which is what it made me think of. And also, I think the Kelly family could be aliens. They may not be.
Sure.
Romney.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I think that of all of these conspiracy theories that we've talked about, and we haven't really delved deep into a lot of the specific ones, but I feel like by design, I feel like the one that has sparked again, I keep coming back to this alien one. It's sparked the most imagination. It's led to more interesting science fiction films and television and books, artworks, stories. It's just, if the world is storytelling, you know what I mean? If the history of the world is stories we tell each other, these are fun and exciting stories. And whether or not they are true, they are a way to explain things that people have been trying to explain in assorted ways for thousands of years.
Right.
They are one way to explain them. And I think they're a really fun way to explain them.
You ever hear Neil deGrasse Tyson explain how time travel is possible?
Wait,
no.
Neil deGrasse Tyson explained something and didn't debunk it?
Well,
I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson, but he's just kind of America's buzzkill, isn't he?
Lately, we've all gotten a little morose lately.
I guess, yeah.
He says, he's not saying it's possible.
Right.
But he tells this story of when he was a kid and he wrote a letter to Carl Sagan as a student. And Carl Sagan wrote back to him and said, "If you're ever in Syracuse, come visit me."
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll be inside this turtleneck.
Yeah. He said, "Come, take this bus. I'll meet you." And they had this meeting, and he signed his book, and he showed him his offices. Mm-hmm. And so Neil deGrasse Tyson went back to the bus stop where he got off, where Carl Sagan met him. And he goes, "If I stand at this bus stop and I'm holding this letter that I wrote to him, the actual letter, well, my body smells things and it hears things, and we often go, oh, that's my mother's perfume, so we secrete these emotions. I feel like this. We become that. So if I'm here sensorially, and my body believes I'm back then at this moment, and I feel like I'm nervous like a kid again back at this moment, who can tell me I'm not? And if it's just what I'm seeing around me, if I could control that somehow, who's to say I'm not?" I know it sounds silly or a bit romantic, but it's just, again, that leap of faith that it takes for something to be possible. Like, it's not going to happen against your will.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
So just believing in it is enough to even make it true if it's not.
You know what? Whether or not that's factually accurate, I like the idea that believing it makes it so.
A lot of acting is based on that.
It's all perception.
If I smell this, then I will be back at this funeral and feel those emotions, and your body doesn't know any better.
The sense of smell is a time machine.
It's the sense closest tied to emotion.
Yeah. There was one conspiracy theory I came across in many conspiracy theories that I found on the internet in researching this. Two of which I won't dig into, but I love. One of which is, forget the whole Paul is dead, Paul died in the 60s and was replaced thing. There's a conspiracy theory that the Beatles were never a thing. They never existed. They were session musicians who and then a bunch of lookalike actors played the Beatles periodically. That was one. Another one is the moon doesn't exist, which I thought was a great conspiracy theory. But there was one, a time-based one, that all moments are actually 4 moments happening simultaneously.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that to me,
I don't understand.
Not really.
And that to me seems less like a conspiracy theory and more like a very deep cut quantum science theory that I can't begin to understand because I don't have crazy enough science hair. Like all this television people that talk about things like this.
You should get some science hair.
I would love science hair.
You'd have great science hair.
You think?
Yeah.
I could dig some science hair.
Get some science hair.
All right.
Just grow it out and then keep it the way it is when you wake up.
Yeah. That's science hair. Right now it's hat hair because I have a hat on all day.
Try and wake up 3 or 4 times at a day to really get it to hold.
And always act like no matter what you're doing, when someone comes up to you, they're interrupting something very intense.
Yeah, right.
That's going on.
What?
Yeah, it's always...
And be surprised by anyone that comes up and says hello. Say hello to me.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in general, your attitude should be best quantified as a person who's saying, "Told you so."
So pretty much our image of science was based on Back to the Future and Christopher Lloyd.
Exactly. We're just
pretty much
describing
stopped right there.
We're just describing Doc Brown. I feel like scientists also in movies and television are always looking for a pen. That's what scientists do. Like, that's what a scientist does, is a scientist looks for a pen.
Like Peter Falk at the end of Princess Bride, where he's looking for his keys for an hour and a half. All right. Okay. All right. Did you see the Werner Herzog documentary about the internet? What was it called?
I did not.
No.
Well, I can't remember what it's called.
That's fair.
Now, Lo and Behold.
Okay.
Because that's the first thing they wrote on the internet. And in it, they find this man who invented coding with all the people that invented the internet. But he's been cast aside. He lives in like a houseboat.
Oh.
And isn't a member of the community anymore because he believes that as soon as you started cut and pasting code instead of writing it out, even though it's the same thing, it's lost something. The art is gone. And the internet is now something
like he's having a conversation with the digital universe, and cutting and pasting is
it's like
plagiarizing in that conversation.
Exactly. And that, maybe real strings versus synth strings. Like, well, the ear hears it the same. So we all dismissed him and we went on with the cutting and pasting. And Werner's interviewing him and he's so well spoken and economical with his words, and he seems so authoritative. And I thought to myself how much I want to be like him. I want to speak like him.
You want to be the artisanal internet guy.
Well, that's what hit me when Werner Herzog said to him, "Oh, I don't think you're crazy." And the guy went, "You don't?" Oh. And he just wilted. And he said, "You're the first person to ever say that to me."
Oh, I love that.
And I realized I am modeling myself after a crazy person.
Yeah, that's fair. Aren't we all?
So here we are.
I think we all pick our crazy person to model our life after.
Sure.
Yeah. Who's your crazy person you model your life after, Hal?
You.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I was going to say the same thing about you. So we're just those two MC Escher hands that are drawing each other?
Yeah, that's right.
Does it feel like we have our conspiracy theory answer? No.
But it feels like
is there ever going to be a conspiracy theory answer?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope there'll be individual answers, but on a whole, we'll continue to question things.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
You can't get out ahead of it. You will never be able to because there will always be something unexplained. And then for everything that's unexplained, there will be three people who are like, I could explain this.
Yeah.
X, Y, and then not MC Escher. Now I have MC Escher in the brain.
I know.
The Rube Goldberg. A Rube Goldberg machine of like, this thing happened there, and then the chicken laid an egg, which got the lighter to burn the string, and then a hammer swung into a duck.
Did you ever play that MC Escher version of the game Mousetrap? Oh, it's amazing. Like the board, and then there's another board underneath it, and then it flips around on another board, and there's a staircase to a third board.
That sounds easy to travel with.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, then I feel like this is kind of exciting because we end every episode the same way, and we can't do it this time. What we can end it with is asked. Adam Busch, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Oh, no, I'm not letting you do that. We're not cheaping our way out of this. People of the world, the greatest conspiracy is aliens.
Oh, wait, so there is an answer.
They came from beyond.
I thought we just said there wasn't an answer.
From far away. They built some pyramids. They carved up some fields.
Anally probed maybe a couple people.
Yeah, look, maybe they did a little butt stuff. It's fine. They're aliens.
Fine.
They're scientists.
We don't judge.
They're check it out. Who among us, that's how you take your temperature when you're a baby. You don't know they weren't doing that.
They were just taking our temperature.
Yeah.
They were seeing if we were ready.
Some people still take their temperature like that.
That's
sure.
Yeah. And you know what? It's okay. It's an accurate way to take your temperature.
Yeah.
You can do it under your arm too. A lot of people do that, but they should.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, all this time I've been, and I could have just.
You could have, yeah.
Gosh.
All those, you know who had that
now.
same conversation? The aliens, when he got right back on the saucer.
Yeah.
He was like, you could have just put it under his arm.
They're like,
I've been cleaning this thing.
Yeah. And the other one's like, those were arms? Oh.
Do you know the NASA Voyager? Do you know what that is?
Yes.
The
gold record.
Right. And
Right.
it's still there.
Is there music on the record?
Yes.
What music did we put?
We put every language, the sounds of death, birth, war, joy, crying.
Classical music.
Classical music, and some Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry, that's right. I knew there was some rock and roll on there.
The Saturday Night Live joke they made at the time was, we finally heard back from the aliens who found the NASA Voyager. Send more Chuck Berry. But it's still the farthest we've ever gone in space.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
And waiting for someone. And on the back of that record are 3 symbols. One, how to split an atom. And if you've reached this, you know how to do that.
Yeah.
The other is where they are in that moment. And the other is where we are.
Hang on a second.
This is real. You can look at it. You can watch it all.
If the Voyager, it's got how to split an atom and here's where we are. Isn't that exactly what we tried not to do during the entire Cold War? Like, it's like, hey, aliens, come nuke us.
100%. We're desperate.
Jeez.
And that's us. That's us.
Yeah.
Just hanging out there in space, waiting for someone to come explain it all to us. And I think we got a little farther, a little closer to it today.
I love that.
We did it. So there you go. Aliens, folks. Get your Time Life books. Go hang out with Mark's dad at AlienCon.
Go hang out with the good doctor. He will be at AlienCon. He'll be the guy in line, really excited to meet all of the ancient alien theorists.
Of the many things in the world that we cannot explain, to assume that we are alone as the only planet with intelligent, sentient life capable of evolving and inventing technology is vainglorious.
Yeah.
And utterly ridiculous. Whether or not aliens have been here or not, it is impossible to say. But it's that impossibility coupled with the idea that we can't possibly be alone, and to assume that we are is the same as to assume we are the center of a vast and boundless universe, which is utter ridiculousness.
Yeah, on our flat Earth.
Those things combine to make the perfect hot chocolate of conspiracy, because there's just enough doubt and just enough potential truth and a foundation that there's knowledge we don't have, and there's knowledge we can assume that we may never be able to prove, that makes it the perfect conspiracy theory.
The skeptic becomes the believer.
Look at that.
Asked and answered. Adam Busch.
Thank you. This is so much cheaper than therapy. Thank you.
This was so fun, man. What a treat.
A blast. Where do you want people? Where should they be going to see, listen to, follow?
I don't want them to find me. I don't want them to know me. I don't want them to contact me.
Sure, of course.
I'm going to be on a houseboat.
Hidden.
Not even. Don't want to say anything.
Deep.
Don't want to say anything.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. We've known each other now for
a decade.
God, longer.
Longer than a decade.
12, 13 years. And this is long overdue, and we're so glad you came in. Come back again.
Oh, thank you.
We'll do something. We'll do something easier to pin down.
Is there a God?
Yeah, that'll be the next one. We'll do religion and politics and knock them out together, and then everybody's phone will melt at the same time, and that's when the aliens come.
That's right.
This topic is settled, believe it or not. But there are a ton more out there, and we want to hear from you. So email us. We got this podcast at gmail.com. Go to the Facebook group, and in a friendly and respectful way and not harmful, because that is not what this is about.
That's right.
You can talk about fun conspiracy theories. Talk about Time Life books that you ordered or read when you were younger or now as an adult. You can do that at facebook.com/groups/We Got This Podcast, or
you can reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit. Thank you, as always, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively.
Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, QA engineer Jen Alba, and graphic designer Uri Kelman.
And thank you to you, our listeners. Let's all blast off into space together and play some Chuck Berry. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.